Alright, today we're going to take a look at a couple of different runs involving the Nurse Shark. Now, Nurse Shark is a golden pack unit. Originally, it was one of the most broken units in the game. But thankfully, that didn't last too long and it was adjusted to be a bit fairer. And I guess these days it's more known for being one of the units that Rev takes the most often. So I will link some of Rev's Nurse Shark videos in the description. And I had an idea for a Nurse Shark team in Customs, which I wasn't sure if Rev had already done it, or maybe he had recorded it but not uploaded it yet. But I checked with him in advance to make sure, and he gave me the all clear. So first of all here we're going to look at a run from Golden Pack, just because I happen to have one involving Nurse Shark. And then we're going to move on to Customs, take a look at a team that's a bit more interesting, in my opinion. Still very similar, but with some key differences when we work in additional units from outside Golden. So here on turn 7 we level into the first Nurse Shark. At this point we don't have any trumpets, so it's not going to do anything, but the double baboon will give it a head start on getting its stats up to a sensible level. Now, you only need, I think 6 trumpets to get the maximum damage from Nurse Shark. I feel like it's still very strong, it's just not played by as many people. And I'm not sure why that is. You know, the partner pet, Nyala, is one of the most common units that you see in Customs. I guess Nyala in Golden maybe isn't quite as common. I don't know, I haven't played a huge amount of Golden Pack Static Arena for a while. And there have been some changes recently with the addition of at least one new perk that I can think of. Maybe there are more things that I'm forgetting. I guess Silver Fox was moved out of the pack as well, which was a really good change, I think. Plenty of gold generation in this pack already, and although it is the Golden Pack, I think Golden Retriever is enough representation to justify that move. So on level up here on turn 10, we get offered Catfish and Highland Cow. So I was talking about new changes, well Catfish is another one. If you don't have any bipeds, Catfish will now give +4 health to the unit in front. So you'll see it happen here, start of turn, Catfish gives +4 health to Highland Cow. Now that works perfectly with Highland Cow because its ability is to generate trumpets based on its health. And we actually get level 2 Catfish immediately, followed by another Catfish on level up. So next turn the Highland Cow is going to get +8 in health. And that's going to give us, we don't quite have enough at the moment to activate both Nurse Sharks at max damage. Very soon we will have more than enough trumpets to spare. Actually, yeah, okay, looks like I'm going to go for a higher level Nurse Shark before we go for level 3 Catfish. I mean, level 3 Catfish isn't really necessary here, but because it was a new change, I felt like it was worth showcasing it as much as possible. It is actually very quick to get you to 50 HP. But of course at that point the usefulness kind of runs out. Unfortunately here we missed the Minotaur, so it's a draw. I'm sure I already had the level 3 Catfish, but maybe that's what I was thinking about here, going for level 3 just in case I didn't have the achievement. And we're offered another one in the shop as well, so it would be kind of rude to pass up the opportunity. Pretty strong looking team from Infected Player here, but Unicorn Pack, not much defensive equipment, and so the Mothman takes the full brunt of that snipe. And we still have the doggo left. So maybe now would be a good time to try and guess what the final version of this team is going to look like in Customs. So I can tell you that we're going to have double Nurse Shark again, and we're definitely going to have Highland Cow as well, but there won't be Sea Urchin, there won't be Catfish. If you wanted to try and make something that Rev hadn't done before, and it involves something from Danger Pack, what would you do? Let me know in the comments. So we max out the Highland Cow. 650 stat line is pretty ridiculous. And so I just moved the catfish forward to try and get as much value out of it as possible. The panther here actually kills both nurse sharks at the same time, which is kind of hilarious. It's almost a draw. I guess if we'd had the level 3 nurse shark there, that would have been a pretty easy win. Level 3 Highland Cow probably isn't necessary, but we're going to do it anyway. I guess now with Golden Pack also having access to Honeydew Melon, which while blocking damage also increases attack slightly. You know, the health scaling on the catfish here, you can actually pair that up with a perk that is going to increase attack. +5 attack, it might not sound a lot, but it can be important in many situations. Here the huge health on the Highland Cow helps us get the win. And what are we going to look for here? We're actually getting pretty solid luck in terms of the chocolate, I think. Maybe I could have taken the pita bread there, but I think, yeah, we'll go for the tomato instead. $36 trumpets with 50 health, not too bad. And we actually remove the Bird of Paradise from the back line. I guess this person is going for multiple achievements in one go in terms of the groundhog and the oyster. But that tomato snipe ended up being pretty important. Alright, now we move on to custom packs. And we're going to try and recreate a similar team, but with a bit more custom packs flavour. And you can see here at the front we have one of our first units from outside of Golden, and that is the Panda. Now Panda is really useful for a lot of different builds. Mainly because it counts, well, for a couple of reasons. One is that you can use it to transfer stats onto another unit very easily. I think it's much better than Emperor Tamarin is for that purpose, even though it's not technically permanent, so it could be disrupted a bit more easily. Actually, we face Rev here. This is his current different username. He seems to change his username quite a lot these days. I kind of miss when it actually said RevGT when I got matched with him. Maybe he'll bring that back at some point in the future. So yeah, Panda is a pretty useful unit. We're going to scale it up here, and then it's going to be the pet that donates its stats to the Highland Cow when we get it. So that kind of bypasses the need to spend multiple turns scaling up the Highland Cow. If the Panda can just pass the stats over straight away, then we should be good to go. Kind of depressing team here with a triple rabbit +1 peacock, and we do in fact lose. But not to worry, I think we're going to start finding the things we need to find pretty soon. Well, for a start we get level 3 stoat from the griffin here, which is kind of ridiculous. And then I think I'm going to save it, or am I just going to sell it now? We sell it now, we get Red Panda. So Red Panda, I'm not sure why exactly I had it in this pack. Maybe it was because I couldn't fit everything that I wanted onto tier 5 or 6. Who knows? But either way, I think we're gonna, yeah, I think transforming it into something else would make a lot more sense instead of actually trying to activate the Red Panda ability. I didn't notice if I had Waffle there or not. I'm sure I would, because Waffle is almost an auto take for me. Kind of unusual looking team here with the Nordic goats, but I think we're going to generate enough trumpets to be fine. Yeah. So yeah, as I was saying, before I got matched with Rev, actually can't even really remember what I was saying before I got matched with the Rev. Yeah, I was talking about the ability of the Panda. So I think as much as, you know, giving lots of stats to another pet is really useful, the thing that I find most useful about Panda is that it allows you to create a start of battle feint. So when the panda donates its stats, it does count as fainting, and that allows you to activate a lot of different abilities much more easily. The classic one, another Rev favourite, is Donkey. But of course there are plenty of other ways that we can use this function. And I think, yeah, am I going to combine these alpacas together and then transform them? I can't remember exactly what the sequence is in this particular game, but there we go. We find the Highland cow. So we get instant level 2 Highland cow. Alpaca still ludicrous. I don't know why it's able to give experience to other alpacas, but there we go. And now we should get enough trumpets for the nurse shark to activate. Pretty funny team here with a triple starfish, double yeti. But I think we're going to be fine. Yeah, definitely. And then now that we have the level 2 Highland cow, I think we can just combine the alpacas, get the panda to level 3, and then we can hopefully just transform the alpaca into something else. Now we don't want it to transform into another Highland cow, because this one is going to get to 50 health and max out on trumpets pretty quickly. But we are going to bring in the bonobo to get another nurse shark. Bonobo is just so useful for these types of builds where you're trying to have multiples of the same unit. Sometimes it can be so frustrating just rolling the shop down trying to find a duplicate and not being able to do it, but bonobo completely bypasses that problem. And now we're also looking for an item in the food shop, and there it is, white truffle. So I think I mentioned earlier that this is from Danger Pack. So you can see the ability there, friend faints, jump attack. I think it's the highest attack enemy. So now we can move the nurse sharks further back in the team, and the panda will faint, trigger the white truffle. Well, it would have done if it hadn't immediately been replaced by an ailment. Pretty strong looking team here, but I think we're still going to take care of them fairly easily with the nurse shark snipes. Yeah, and Doggo is still above 2020 stats. Now we just need to find a second white truffle for the other nurse shark, which we do immediately. Good timing there. And then Chickpea to hopefully transform the alpaca into something more useful. I guess I could have also taken maybe popcorn or something on the Highland cow, but melon is almost always safer, I think. I'd had a couple of runs before this where things looked like they were set up perfectly, but then I just kept losing to unlikely opponents, you know, the classic 1-1 scorpion at the front destroying the team. But it's so satisfying seeing the nurse sharks jump attack at start of battle and then snipe for massive damage. I mean, almost their entire team gets wiped out there. And we still had the Highland cow and the doggo in reserve. So here I'm just checking the tier 6s to see if there's anything else worthwhile other than another Highland cow. I should have just kept the Highland cow here, but I think I'm going to transform as soon as I get the option. There we go. And of course, it does the classic transform back into another alpaca. But luckily we do get the level 3 Highland cow from our existing unit. And it's a blue whale team, everything is scaled up pretty heavily. But the nurse sharks let loose. The level 3 goes first. This team didn't really have much in the way of equipment anyway. They're going to apply more crisp to their own team because the doggo hasn't been summoned yet. And we get the victory. So do make sure to go over to Rev's channel and let him know that he hasn't completely cornered the market on nurse shark teams.